Hello students, it's great to see you again in my class, Linguistic Research Methodology. Today, we will focus on reviewing your final proposal draft. Okay, in this semester, you have gone through all of the materials, starting from introduction, literature review, and methodology. Now, we would like to look at it one by one. You have done your writing and you have revised some parts of your proposal. Now, it is necessary for you and for us, also everyone, to look at it again. Are you ready, students? Okay, now let us review what you have done one by one. Okay, could you please prepare a checklist of your final proposal draft? Okay, now we will start. Number 1, you have to ensure that your proposal draft consists of 3 main chapters. Chapter 1, Introduction. Chapter 2, Literature Review. And Chapter 3, Methodology. Okay, look at it again. Ensure your proposal draft consists of 3 chapters. Chapter 1, Introduction. Chapter 2, Literature Review. And Chapter 3, Methodology. If you've completed all of the 3 chapters, look at it once more. Ensure you have references part with you. Okay, references part. Now let us discuss about each chapter. Chapter 1. Do you still remember, students? Your chapter 1 must consist of 5 subparts. Number 1 is background of the study. Number 2, research question. Number 3, objective of the study. Number 4, uses of the study. And the last part for chapter 1 is scope of the study. Now, look at the content of your chapter 1, introduction. Background of the study. What should be written in background of the study, students? Remember, in background of the study, you must write the issues behind your topics. You have selected one specific topic and one specific issue related to linguistics to discuss. You have to write the issue and bring to the front very clearly about what is the issue. In background of the study, you need to look also at the previous studies. Look at the issues or similar issues or some of the problems discussed. Why the previous studies also talk about similar topics. And you need to look at the gaps between the previous studies and your study right now. After that, you can write the second part of introduction, which is research question. Now, what should be written in research question? Of course, in research question, you need to write what do you want to solve. This part must consist of a question or more than one questions. Alright, students, after writing your research question, you need to look at your research objective. What is research objective? Research objective is actually what do you want to achieve at the end of your research. Ensure your research objective is relevant with your research question. If you have one research question, you must have one research objective. If you have two research questions, ensure your research objectives are also two. So your research question and your research objective are interrelated. Next, what you have to write and what you have to check. You have to check your uses of the study. Remember, students, research uses of the study consists of two: theoretical use and practical use. So when we talk about theoretical use of the study, it relates to how your research will theoretically contribute to the readers, contribute to your colleagues, contribute to the students and other relevant stakeholders. Meanwhile, when we talk about the practical uses of the study, you look at how this result of research can be practically used, can be applied in reality, in real life, how this linguistic topic that you are discussing can contribute to the life of the people. Next part, you need to write your scope of the study. Now look again at what you have written down, because your topic can be large, can be broad. You need to limit it. Therefore, you need to look at the topics again, the methodology, the scope of your research. That's why we call it scope of the study. It is to limit your discussion. Alright, students, again, we are reviewing your chapter 1. Your chapter 1 must consist of number 1, background of the study, number 2, research question, number 3, research objective, number 4, uses of the study, and number 5, scope of the study. Okay, students, you have checked and reviewed your chapter 1. Now, let us check and review your chapter 2. Remember, students, chapter 2 consists of at least 3 sections. Number 1 is your previous study. Number 2, your theoretical framework. And number 3, your conceptual framework. Now, let us check and review what you have done one by one. First, your previous study. Previous study is important because it will guide you to go through your research. Now, you have to ensure that you have at least 3 until 5 relevant and most current previous studies. Remember, if you discuss about, let's say, interaction, or if you discuss about, let's say, deixis, or illocutionary acts, ensure your previous studies are also relevant with the topics. Okay, students? And the previous studies must be, I recommend you from 2016 until 2020. So that's the current one, the past 5 years. Okay, when you have found the relevant and most current previous studies, you have to go through each of the study. Look at it. Look at how the previous studies present the problem, present the issues, present the question, the research question, present the objective, what theories and concepts that they use, for example, what methodology, how did the previous studies present the findings, present the discussion, and also conclude whole of the studies. It's very important for you to look at the details of the previous study so you know where to go when you do your proposal, when you write your proposal, and even when you write your research report. Alright, so check again your previous studies. Yeah, ensure you have 3 until 5 relevant and most current previous studies. Now, let us move to the next section, which is theoretical framework. Now, theoretical framework, remember students, let's say when you discuss about one linguistic topics, interaction, for example, you must have its theoretical foundation. You look at interaction theories. What is the existing ones? Let's say you come out with interaction hypothesis, yeah, comprehensible output hypothesis, for example. So those are the theories that you must refer in order to understand, yeah, all of the things related to what's going on. Okay, you have to write your theoretical framework. Remember, check again whether you have written your theoretical framework. After that, yeah, after writing your theoretical framework, you need to also write your conceptual framework. Look at your proposal draft. Have you written your theoretical or your conceptual framework? If you have, look, because your conceptual framework will be the basis to develop your instruments later on. Alright? So this is your foundation, yeah, your basis of analysis. Yeah, you can present your conceptual framework in the form of table, let's say, in the form of figures, yeah, or in a form of description, yeah, the descriptive text, for example. So if you want to discuss about interaction, you need to write conceptual framework about interaction, yeah, according to experts, of course. You need to refer to experts, yeah. Okay, check again your chapter 2, literature review. Number 1, previous studies. Number 2, theoretical framework. And number 3, conceptual framework. Alright, students? Check and review. Okay, students. I'm sure you have checked your chapter 1, introduction, and chapter 2, literature review. Now we move to look at your chapter 3, methodology. You've learned and you've identified that chapter 3, in the case of your proposal, must consist of 4 sections. Number 1, research design. Number 2, data and data source. Number 3, data collecting technique. And number 4, data analyzing technique. Now, let us check and review what you have done one by one. Okay, students. Part 1 or section 1 of methodology is research design. Here in research design, you must decide what is your research approach. Is it qualitative or quantitative? Remember, students, when you deal a lot, yeah, with words, yeah, with sentences, with text, let's say, most probably you have to use qualitative research, yeah, approach. If you deal with numbers, quantification, yeah, measurement, it means that you have to use quantitative research approach. Okay? Remember those 2 research approach, qualitative or quantitative. Look at your draft. Ensure you have written your approach of research is qualitative or quantitative. Now, in the second part of your methodology, you need to write about your data and data source. Remember, students, data and data source are very important. You need to be able to identify them very well. If your research is qualitative, it means that your data source or your data must be determined, yeah, the characterization. It must be specific. It must be with purpose. You need to select your data and data source very specifically based on some criteria. Yeah, it's like when you are trying to identify the participants in your study. Maybe you can determine or maybe you can decide the characteristics based on the age of the participants, for example, by the grades, yeah, or Maybe if you study about a text, maybe about the year of the publication, about the theme, yeah, about the writer, so it has to be specific. Meanwhile, when you talk about data and data source in quantitative, normally, you know, it can be random, yeah, or your data is large, yeah, it's big, yeah, so you need to look at the trends, for example. You need to look at you know, surface characteristics, yeah, that's why you have to find a large or a big data and data source. Okay, students, again, check your data and data source. If you're doing qualitative research, it means that the characteristics of your data and data source must be small but specific, yeah, the characteristics. Meanwhile, if it is quantitative, it has to be large, yeah, because you're going to look at generalization. Right, students? Clear? Now we move to data collecting technique. Yeah, remember, if you're doing qualitative research, most probably you use at least, yeah, one of these three data collecting techniques. Number one, remember, we have talked about it, interview. Number two, we have discussed about it, observation. And number three, it's also document mining, yeah. So three main data collecting techniques in qualitative research. Now look again one by one. If you're doing interview, check your interview questions, yeah. Remember, there are three types of interviews, yeah. Basically, interviews are done in order to get information from the source person, from the participants, yeah. Three types of interviews: structured, semi-structured, and unstructured. Okay, check again what kind of interview techniques that you use, yeah, structured, semi-structured, or unstructured. Okay, students, check again. Now, the next data collecting technique in qualitative research is observation. If you use observation, it means that you're going to look at, yeah, the information holistically in the fields, yeah, in a natural setting. You want to, what is the key of observation? It's seeing, witnessing, listening, and hearing. All right, there are two types of observation in general: direct and indirect observation. Remember, if you plan to use observation, you must prepare your observation checklist, for example, or your notes, yeah, so you know what is going on and you don't miss, yeah, the moments that you're going to capture. All right, number one, interview. Number two, observation. And number three is document minings. Now, document minings, yeah, if you research, is going to analyze text, for example, or digital text, or conventional text, yeah, the available text. It means that you're going to use document mining. Yeah, in document mining, you can look at novel, let's say, you can look at songs, you can look at movie, all right? So when you are doing an analysis of novel, of newspapers, for example, of movie, it means that you are using document mining as data collecting technique. All right, remember, in qualitative research, your data collecting techniques are mainly three. Check again, students, yeah, what you have written down. Is it interview? Is it observation? Or document mining? Or you combine all. All right? Now, in quantitative, it's different. Mainly you use, for example, survey. Yeah, you conduct survey. You design questionnaire. Yeah, you distribute questionnaire to a lot of people. You're going to look at, you know, what is the opinion of people about something, about linguistic phenomenon in this context. You are looking at people's perspectives, yeah, about the use of, for example, technology in linguistic studies, for example, yeah, knowledge of the students about, you know, how media brings impact to the society, yeah, for example. All right, so if you use quantitative, it means that you design questionnaire, yeah, you distribute questionnaire to a lot of people. All right. Next, yeah, after data collecting technique, you will analyze your data. Yeah, your data analysis. Look at it again in your data analysis. Some important things that you need to review from your draft. First, yeah, how do you code your data? You need to be able to code your data. You have a lot of data, all right? You code, you label them, all right? You label your data. After that, you categorize the data. How do you do that? Look again, your conceptual framework. Yeah, remember students, your literature review and your methodology are interrelated. Okay, so in your data analysis, look, how will you code the data? How will you label the data? All right, how will you classify the data? All right, how you group the data, or maybe you can even doing specific coding, yeah, for the sub unit analysis of your data, and how you present the data in your findings and discussion chapter. It is important for you, yeah, to make it easy, yeah, for you for your analysis later on. Okay, students, remember, you need to check 4 things. Yeah, review your draft, yeah, that you have with you. In your chapter 3, you must have your research design, you must have your data and data source, data collecting technique, and data analyzing technique. Now, we have talked about all the chapters, yeah. Another thing that is important in your proposal writing is your references, yeah. In the context of our class, students, you must have at least 10 most current and relevant references. Where you have to get your references from? Textbooks, journal articles, conference proceedings, book chapters, encyclopedia, newspaper articles, or from magazines. These are the list of references that you can use for your research, for your proposal writing, okay, in the future. Now, what is the most recommended ones for your references? Of course, textbooks, which are relevant with your studies, and journal articles. Yeah, these are the 2 main references that you must use, yeah, for your research. Ensure you use the most current one, the past 5 years. Now, don't forget, when you write your references, you must write it correctly. Yeah, remember, you must write the name of the author, the year of the publication, the title of the article, the title of the journal, the edition, the volume, the page number. If it is about textbook, remember, you need to write the name of the author, yeah, the title of the book, yeah, and then the year of the publication, as well as the city and the publishers is very important. All right, students, remember, before I end this session, you must have at least 4 things in your proposal. Number 1, chapter 1 introduction. Number 2, literature review as your chapter 2. Number 3, methodology in your chapter 3. And the last one is references. Okay, what's next after you have checked and reviewed your proposal draft? Next, please submit final draft of your thesis proposal to our Spada system. Students, remember, next meeting, you need to submit your final draft of thesis proposal to our Spada system. I'm confident that you have done your best during this semester. Remember, I always say this to you: results never cheat efforts. It means that if you've done your best, the result will be good. Okay, students? Thank you and all the best for your final results. Bye-bye.